Muhammad was in the practice of thighing his bride. Let me explain what thighing is.
Be nice, Mr. Bean.
It is when you take your male member, your phalanx, and you place it between the thighs of the child and you rub it gently against her vagina. And Muhammad thighed his bride, Muhammad, Aisha, before he consummated that marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to find the hadith so we can read it to everybody?
I'll tell you what.
Can you try?
I haven't got it on.
Can you look on Google? Try and find it on Google, bro.
I'll say something. I want to add to it, and I'm on your side, right? Muhammad was not a prophet; he was a paedophile. And the reason there is child molestation today in Islam is because of its founder. I'll tell you where it's very big today, in Yemen. Lots of it goes on in Yemen.
And Iraq.
It's a Shia
And Afghanistan. And Syria.
It is a devilish practice that exposes the true spirit behind Islam.
And Somalia.
I don't know if you've mentioned this.
Well, no, because I wanted to do a talk and everyone's jumping in on the talk that I wanted to do. Brother, help me by finding the hadith about thighing. That's how you can help me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've read it. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like, go on? Yes, of course, come in and respond.
You're talking about something that
Yeah.
occurred 1,400 years ago.
Correct.
Okay? Society was different, right? We
Yes.
had norms going on for the society.
Yes.
The norms were the same in Europe, in Africa, in Asia. This is what the society was like. People did not get married through love. No, they had arranged marriages. And this is an arranged marriage. Everybody knew that. It's not something that he was doing on his own. This was the norm.
How old was she when the arranged
We don't
marriage
know.
occurred?
Whatever it is,
The hadiths are very clear.
Whatever it is, this is the
Six.
norm. This
Six.
is the norm of
Sahih
the
Bukhari.
society. This is the norm of the society that she was living in.
Can I reply?
This is the norm.
Can I
okay?
reply?
This is not something that's extraordinary that he did. No.
Can I reply?
This is the way it was.
Can I reply?
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
you believe,
Right.
I'm guessing you're a Muslim,
Yes.
do you believe that Muhammad is an example to all of us here today?
Yes. Yes.
In all of his conduct,
Yes.
including in his marriage to a child?
She was a child.
Including in his marriage to a child? Answer that question.
The problem is that you define him as a child, but that's not the way it is.
Well, how would you
That's-
define a 6-year-old?
Today, yeah, a child. But
Well, 1400 years ago, not a child.
we don't know. We don't
No,
know.
we do know.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do know.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do
No,
know.
we don't know. Because
Shall I
they are
explain
different.
why we know?
Because, I tell you why.
Shall I explain why
wait
we
a minute,
know?
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I will. I'll let him finish and then I'll explain why we know
because-
Aisha was a child.
Because the development, the people are not the same. The developmental.
The Quran talk about women, not minor. And besides, the Quran.
when
the
is-
Right, ladies and gentlemen,
the Quran.
here's why we know
Aisha
Aisha was not a child. Ladies and gentlemen, the Muslims try to argue that 1400 years ago, children developed differently in the past
Right.
No.
because of the heat. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
yes, he says, yes.
In
It is
Africa,
utter rubbish.
It's not rubbish.
Ladies
In
and
Africa-
gentlemen,
in Africa, you can
biology
find
for
somebody-
human
No,
beings
you can find
is
somebody
driven the
who
same
develops
everywhere.
differently. There are-
Ladies and
there are
gentlemen,
people who are 6 years
and
old,
6-year-old
and their
children
age is
do
above
not
that.
have the frontal lobes for long-sighted decisions. That is a biological fact today.
Nobody
And it
complained
was
to you
a
about
biological
that. You're just
fact
making up all this
1400 years ago.
You didn't-
Ladies and
Nobody
gentlemen,
complained it. He did not
the logic
You are only
of the
making this
Muslim
up.
apologist
No, you-
for Muhammad's rape and abuse of a child is that because Aisha had her period. That's the argument. At 9, this is called precocious puberty, I believe is the medical term. It's a malfunctioning body
The
that starts to release eggs early.
criteria of
But,
marriage and
ladies
Quran,
and gentlemen,
you can read
it
chapter-
doesn't
chapter
follow
Nisa.
that the hips have widened
The women
to have
chapter
a child, or
four,
that the frontal
the verse
lobes
5.
have developed as an adult. And as such, even this, if you bleed, you can breed mentality demonstrates itself to be backward, barbaric, and savage. Where exactly am I reading? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just record to you.
No, he doesn't.
If it goes dark.
He's barking. You
Right.
Give you another chance.
3 miles away, you can.
Where is this from? I need the source.
Just above it. Just scroll
Quran
down.
criteria for
Source,
marriage.
musical.
Surah An-Nisa, chapter 5, verse number 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, does the orphan ability to receive
yeah, but it
and
doesn't give a
self
source.
judgment. So they need
So,
to be able
I'm going to
judge,
read.
and you cannot marry
I'm going to
somebody-
read an Islamic source, but I confess that the person that found it for me hasn't found it with its origin. But these are the words you can research yourself. That is why Muhammad placed his male member between her thighs and massaged it softly, as the apostle of Allah had control of his male member, not like other believers. That's what the Islamic sources say about Muhammad placing his penis between the thighs of a prepubescent child. Could you find the source? Click on the link, see what it says. Now, ladies and gentlemen, many Muslims find this shocking, and I applaud them for doing so, because it shows that you have a good conscience. And that's the reason why Yahya is trying to argue against it, because Yahya doesn't want to believe in the Prophet of Islam.
I believe
Yahya
believe she
wants
was
to believe.
between 16 and
Yahya
19.
wants to
And
believe.
she was the
Google
only-
Translate,
the
copy
only
paste,
person
Google Translate.
as a prophet, and she
Yahya wants to
related
believe
2000
in a prophet of his
hadith.
own invention.
No, no,
Not
no.
the prophet
Listen.
of the Quran, not the prophet of the Hadiths, not the prophet of Ibn Kathir, not the old prophet of Tamidi, not the prophet of Bukhari, not the prophet of Imam Muslim. No, Yahya wants to believe in the prophet of Yahya. And I want to say I prefer the prophet of Yahya than the prophet of Imam Muslim, or the prophet of Bukhari, or the prophet.
English.
No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read to you a fatwa. Put your hand up if you know what a fatwa is. A fatwa is a legal opinion of an Islamic qadi, an Islamic judge. And this is what a fatwa says about the abuse of children in Islam. The inquirer asks, my parents married me to a young girl who hasn't yet reached puberty. Everybody shout, hasn't yet reached puberty. Try it again. Everybody shout, hasn't yet reached puberty.
Haven't yet reached puberty.
How can I enjoy her sexually is the question. That's your first problem. The thought that you could even try to enjoy a prepubescent child sexually. This is a Muslim asking a Muslim judge about enjoying a prepubescent child sexually. This is the Imam's answer. Do not harm her if she cannot take intercourse, but you may hug her, kiss her, and ejaculate between her legs. That is the opinion of a Muslim judge about enjoying a prepubescent child sexually, ladies and gentlemen. And that's from, here's the source, islamweb.net, fatwa 23672, ladies and gentlemen.
I got Sahih al-Bukhari here as well, some sources here. I scrolled down so you can see where it's highlighted.
Where? Which one?
I don't know if this is helpful, but
Right.
I don't know if that's helpful.
In volume 1, book 6, number 298, it says, the Prophet and I used to take a bath from a single pot while we were junub. During the menses, he used to order me to put on an izar, a dress worn below the waist, and used to fondle me while in itikaf. He used to bring his head near me and I would wash it. I used to be in my periods. Now, bearing in mind that Muslims believe that Aisha started her periods at 9, that means that Muhammad could have been doing this from any age of 9 upwards, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, in Iraq, these beliefs have real consequences. It is out of this milieu that the abuse of children in the north of England emerged. It is out of this teaching that the lowering of the age of marriage in Iraq is occurring, in Iran is occurring, in Yemen is occurring, in Afghanistan is occurring, in Somalia is occurring. It is not a coincidence that when the rest of the world is raising the age of consent, the only place that is lowering the age of consent, Islamic world, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to make this appeal. If you disagree with that, you must stand against Islam. Because if you don't stand against Islam, ladies and gentlemen, then you are silent whilst there are forces that want to sexualize children and make it legal to marry them. And we Christians have opposed this for millennia. Even in the 7th century, before the 7th century, in the 5th century, the Byzantine Empire raised the age of consent to 12. Raised it in the 5th century, 2 centuries before Muhammad sanctioned the raping of children, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the reason why Yahya wants to say that Aisha was not 6 and 9 is because he is ashamed of Islamic sources. He is ashamed of the Hadith. He is ashamed of the Quran. And he should be. They are shameful. But I've got a better way for Yahya. I've got a better way for all those Iraqi Muslims who disagree with their government. Abandon Islam and follow Christ. There's vote! There's vote! There's vote! Christ is King! Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go over there now and do another talk. If you would like to listen to Yahya's response, you can stay here. If you'd like to listen to me, I'm going to move.
Give him some mic.
Cheers, I'll be over there soon.
Right.